Hello, and welcome back to the Multi-Million Dollar Agent Show. I'm your host, Violet Rainwater, and I'm joined today by my lovely co-host, Rob Jacobman.
How's it
We are
going?
here to help you build, grow, and scale your multi-million dollar agency. Hey, Rob, how's it going?
What's going on? How are you? You're looking great there.
Aw, thank you.
Yeah.
Always so sweet. I am doing great. It is warming up. Spring is in the air. I'm wearing turquoise to channel in some warmer weather today. But
Yep.
I'm excited for today, Rob. Today we're jumping into one of your expertise, an area
Yep.
that you talk about, that you teach about, and that is everything LinkedIn. Friends, if you are joining us today, make sure you drop a little comment below. And if you're catching the replay, hashtag replay. Today we're going to be sharing with you 3 tips for starting your LinkedIn journey. And we're going to actually begin by talking about why. Why is there such a great opportunity on LinkedIn? And why has LinkedIn transformed so many lives of those people that decide to jump on this opportunity? Rob, I know you got some amazing statistics to share with us today. So can you get us started by sharing with us some of those amazing stats and why we need to be jumping on to LinkedIn?
Well, first and foremost, welcome everybody. If you are an insurance agent or in the insurance industry, you're in for a real treat today because this is one of the hottest topics that if you are not leveraging the power of LinkedIn, you're missing a huge opportunity. And you're missing a huge opportunity because LinkedIn operates, we all know this, LinkedIn operates one of the largest professional networks for B2B professionals on the planet, right?
That's
They
right.
have almost 700 million users on the platform. That is a huge market. I'm talking to so many agents out there who are just not leveraging LinkedIn the way they should be. And I can tell you this, the other stat that is staggering to me is 80% of B2B leads come from LinkedIn. So,
Say that
so that
again, Rob.
80% of B2B
What?
leads come from LinkedIn.
Yeah,
So this is where all the action is.
it is.
You need to have a presence on LinkedIn in order to be successful at building and nurturing relationships because this is where all the action is.
It is. Absolutely. And guys, make sure to stay till the end today because we're going to be sharing with you 3 tips. And the third one, if you do that alone, it will completely transform your business. All right. I want to share actually just a couple of statistics as well. And these I think are super important if you're a sales professional or if you're an entrepreneur and you're just really tired of being stuck when it comes to lead generation. But some things to keep in mind that 59, or I'm sorry, 65% of B2B companies have gained one client on LinkedIn, right? So it's
Yeah.
one thing to get leads, it's another to be able to get business. So 65% have obtained a client, if not more. Let's see here. 3 million users share content on LinkedIn every week. This is where the opportunity lies, friends, because although there is a 740 million user base and their goal is 3 billion. So they're nowhere near, they have big growth plans. Only 3 million users are actually tapping into this opportunity. And that's why we feel so strongly about giving you guys the tools and the resources to get you started on your LinkedIn journey. So let's begin. Let's begin with the very first thing that you need to do in order to start leveraging the power of LinkedIn. And this is all about your profile. Rob, before you started on LinkedIn, how did you view LinkedIn? How, because a lot of people view it the way that we used to view it.
Yeah, well, I mean, we used to use it. We used to use LinkedIn to get a job or
Yes,
post a
a
resume, or
resume. Exactly.
that was back in the day what LinkedIn was known for. And it has evolved and changed into a deal making, relationship building,
Yeah,
networking machine. And
that's right.
I always say this: LinkedIn is like going to one massive networking event that's open 24/7.
Yeah.
So stop going to all these crazy networking events and getting in your car and spending all of your time.
$7 a gallon.
Oh gosh, yeah, that's true.
I just came
Use
back from California.
LinkedIn
It's
is the place
crazy.
to be.
Yes. Yes. And here are just 5 tips, guys. So, 5 tips to get you started on having your profile in order, because that's going to be a game changer for you.
Yep.
If you plan on marketing on LinkedIn, you've got to get your profile in order. It would be like going on a resume and not getting ready for the resume, not getting your hair done, not getting your best outfit on, not getting, your resume in order. It'd be the same thing. So here are some of our tips for optimizing your profile. First of all, the title section. This is all about what you do for your customer. This is not the place to go ahead and put all your accolades and all your letters behind your last name. This is a place to explain to your customer exactly what you do for them. And that title, it gives you quite a few letters, like it gives you space. So make sure you are using up all of that real estate.
Yep.
The second one is image. Make sure that you have a professional image. Rob, do you ever get requests from people who have no image?
They either don't have an image or the image is kind of like, listen, you have to leverage LinkedIn as a professional. You have to be professional on this platform. This is
Yes,
not Facebook or it's not Instagram. You have to really understand the context and, leveraging LinkedIn for what it is. And it is a professional network.
it
So
is.
you want to have a professional looking photo
Yep.
that, even if you have to go get it done, go get it done professionally. It'll cost you next to nothing, but it'll have a huge impact.
And make sure to smile.
Mhm.
There's nothing better than seeing someone who has a smile on their face, because it sends a message that you are open to engagement, that you're open to making connections. All right. Next one is your about summary. You have quite a bit of space here to let your audience know exactly the problem that you solve and what it looks like once they've worked with you. So, as much as this is about you, and I do believe it needs a little bit of a personal element, this really needs to be all about the problem that you solve and what you do for your customers. Rob, what is your take? I feel like you have one of the best about sections. No one ever has to wonder if they go on your profile what you do, Rob. I know many of us struggle with like what do we actually do, because we do so many things. With you, Rob,
Yeah.
I know exactly what you do the minute I go on your profile summary.
Well, think about this. What's the first thing people do when you connect with them? If you're sending out connection requests, what's the first thing they do when they connect with you?
Yeah.
They're going to go to your
Check you
profile.
out. Yeah.
So they're going to check you out. You have to make sure that your about section, I always say with your about section, there should be never any question who you serve, the problem that you solve, and the
Yeah.
results or the outcomes that you can deliver for your clients.
That's
And
right.
and and by the way, don't be afraid to tell a story. Tell your personal story. You can also use that as your opportunity to for people to learn more about you. I think
Yeah.
it's huge. Take advantage of all that real estate you're given, and use it to your advantage.
And I also say have a call to action in the summary. Let
Yes.
them know how to get a hold of you. There's nothing that I hate more than finding someone that I need their services and then I can't figure out how to get a hold of them. You want to
Yep.
make it super simple for them to be able to reach out and connect with you via email, phone, LinkedIn messaging, obviously. So make sure to have that call to action. What do you want them to do? Do you want them to schedule a strategy call? Do you want them to download something? What is the next step for them?
Yep.
All right. So, next, this is something I often see people not tapping into, and that's recommendations, asking for and giving recommendations. And this is one of the most valuable tools that LinkedIn allows you to have, because anyone who's wondering what they're going to get from working with you, or if they're on the fence with working with you, all they need to do is look at the recommendations and see what other customers experienced. So this is where your profile does the selling for you. Rob, what are your thoughts about recommendations, and how do you feel would be the best way for people to get more recommendations?
I would say recommendations are great. What's even more potent, in my opinion, is using the featured section on your profile. And you could actually, and something that you're brilliant at doing, Violet, and that is gathering testimonials.
Yeah.
Testimonials from current customers. is probably the most powerful thing you can do. I love the recommendation section because you can literally ask your network to make a recommendation about you, about your to testify to your skill, to what you've done to help them. But I think the most powerful thing you can do, go get a few testimonial videos and
Yep.
put them in your featured section. If you look at my featured section, I have some, LinkedIn Power Tip of the Month. I have a featured customer, and also some content. I
Yeah.
think that's very, very powerful.
Well, and according to the latest statistics, video content gets 5 times more engagement on LinkedIn. So, yes, in addition to using the recommendations section, make sure to get some video testimonials. If you ever have anyone that says to you, gosh, that was so amazing, just ask them to get on a quick Zoom call, put it in speaker view and record. Ask them a few questions and then edit it yourself or pay for it, have it done. What your customers say is going to do the selling for you. You're not going to have to push so hard. You're not going to have to convince anyone because your customer had the experience already. So,
Yep.
excellent point. All right. Last, we actually talked about that, the assets, the featured section. So, those were
Mhm.
the 5: the title section, your image, your recommendations, the assets, and make sure your banner. Rob, you also have a great banner. Having either an image or text on your banner is just a great way to differentiate you from so many other people. There's a lot of people that don't use their banner. And so that would be another top tip that I would recommend. And you can
Yep.
get these templates on Canva for free that you can download, that you can make
Yes.
yourself. So there's so many, you don't have to be a digital designer to do it these days.
Nope.
But if you are part of our family, we have our lovely designer, Sarah, who would be happy to do it for you. So just a little shameless plug there. All right, let's jump into number 2. All right, friends, this is how I personally grew my LinkedIn audience. And this is where there's so much opportunity. Although we said there are 740 million users on LinkedIn, only 1% of them are sharing content. 1%. That means out of all the social platforms out there, this is the most untapped market that you have. And so by starting to share content, and I know it can be scary, I know it could be terrifying because I watched on the sidelines for a couple years before I dove in and started sharing. And my only regret is not starting sooner. The value of your content is you really get to provide value to your ideal customers. And I heard something today, Rob. In fact, I haven't shared this with you yet. So I'd love to know your thoughts here. And this particular marketer was sharing how you do not want to talk to your clients while you are still experiencing your problem. That's not what your clients are looking for, or your prospects are looking for, right? It's
Right.
all about having that problem 5 or 10 years ago, how you solved it, and what your life looks like today. It's that journey. And so
Yep.
it's really about creating content that you needed 1 year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, whenever you were a producer. So, Rob, when you were a producer and you had trouble with lead gen, what is the type of content that would have been transformational for you? And that is the type of content you want to share. What are your
Yeah.
thoughts on that, friend?
I even advise customers now, put your content in I would say 3 to 5 content buckets,
Yeah,
where the content buckets, and then creating topics within those content buckets, but your
yeah,
content buckets center around the top problems that you help
yeah.
to solve for your customers. So if you're an insurance agent and one of the top things that you maybe you solve for a customer is you help them with claims, like manage claim issues. So, you could put together some great content on your top 3 tips on how to manage really difficult claims, or, how to do a mod analysis, right? So I know we're getting in the weeds here, but it's really important that your customers know what your expertise or your area
Yeah.
is that you help to solve. And you can do a whole course, you can do a class or some content on cyber liability coverages, why it's important, EPLI coverages. Now, we're talking about policies, but again, I look at it as educational based value and content that you can share with your customers and
Absolutely. And
prospects.
I think the key is you have to be consistent. So make sure that the buckets you choose are things that you already know, you're already an expert in, and you have a passion for it. Because if you don't have it, like Rob, like what you just shared, I couldn't stay consistent in creating content like that because that's not my expertise and I
No.
don't have a passion for it. But for someone who does, that's exactly what you want to talk about because consistency is key. I always say LinkedIn, you got to give it 6 months to really see a return on investment
Yes.
because it is more of a marathon. It is not a sprint. You're in this for the long run because it's all about building the relationships. I've met some of the most amazing people. My partner here, Rob, through LinkedIn, through the power of LinkedIn. We were connected by someone else I met on LinkedIn. So, you never know who you are being connected with. And so, a great way to connect is by sharing content that is from your heart and that really adds tremendous value. And I will say, I'll give you one tip to begin sharing today. Just start.
Yes.
Just start. No more, oh, I'll do it when, or I know I should, or when I get all these pieces together, or when I get that certificate or that degree, or no, no, no. You know enough today to begin showing up as your authentic self and sharing the knowledge and the gifts that you came to share. So
Yep.
just start today. And then make sure in the hashtags, you hashtag ICA Agency Alliance so we can follow and cheer you on in your journey.
I always look at it like this. You see this red button right here? Just press record.
Yep.
Start recording content. Just if you're sitting here and you have something to share, just
Yeah.
record it, and you'd be amazed how amazing that organic content just by sharing your story or sharing something, a tip or a strategy or something of value, just press record and see what happens. You're going to get really
Exactly.
good at it.
Now, before we dive into our third tip, and guys, this is going to be transformational. I want to share just a quick story with you. But I remember my mentor. In fact, I was celebrating her just a couple weeks ago, Felina Hansen. She's the founder of Hera Hub, a co working space for women. She's a champion for women. She has transformed so many women's lives. And I was sitting down with her one day, and it was probably like 9 years ago. And she said, Violet, you really should start making videos. And I'm like, why? Why would I make videos? What would I possibly have to say that would be of value? And I remember thinking how outrageous that sounded. Like, why would I ever create videos? And so it's been quite a journey for me because anyone that has been following me for a while, you know that I'm so passionate about video. And this is part of what I teach to professionals today. And so, with that, just know, friends, where you start today is not where you're going to be a year from now or 5 years from now. In fact, technology, I share this with women all the time, is the number one skill set that you should look to sharpen.
Yeah.
Anything that has to do with technology, because that is the future. And video is here to stay. All right, guys, are you ready? I'm excited, Rob. I'm excited for you to share this transformational tip. I'm going to give you a drum roll. Ready?
Well, the number three, probably the most transformational thing you can do as an agent is to pick your niche.
That's
I
right.
see far too many agents trying to be the jack of all trades and trying to be like, hey, I don't turn away business from anybody. I am the agent for everyone. And I would argue to you that the number one thing you can do to transform your agency and truly build a multi-million dollar book of business is to specialize in at least two or three target niches and get hyper focused on those niches. Become the expert or the go-to for contractors or restaurants or specific industries, artisan contractors. If you want to actually niche down even further, maybe you want to focus on plumbers or mechanical contractors or fire protection contractors. You can get so niche down, but imagine this, Violet. Imagine you up against somebody else, the incumbent, for example, and it's just between the two of you. Who do you think the insured is going to choose if you have a specific expertise and understand what keeps that owner up at night? What are their problems that they face on a daily basis? If you can be that go-to for that individual or that industry, you are going to have massive success.
Absolutely. Well, and it goes, along with what we were just talking about. Once you have a niche, then you can create content that is a problem for that audience, right? So it
100%.
all comes together. I know for those friends that do not specialize on the commercial side, one of the things you can do is you can still have a niche even on the personal line side. And here's how I would look at that. Let's say you have a passion for let's say hairstyle. You work with a lot of hairdressers. Is that how you say
Hmm.
it? Hairstylists?
Stylists.
What's the politically correct way of saying that? Or people who own maybe a med spa. Imagine now you are the expert for all of those owners and you do their personal line. You know what will happen down the road? You'll realize that you can just as easily get their business too, but you can target specific segments for your personal business as well, because a lot of people are not using that target. They're not creating a target on the personal line side. They'll help anyone and everyone. And that's great. But in your marketing efforts, it's only going to help you by really getting clear on who you serve.
Yep. And you know what? Why this is so important is because if you're on LinkedIn and you're using Sales Navigator, you can get hyper focused on with some of the advanced searches. So if you start doing some advanced searches by region, by territory, by type of industry, I mean, you can get so hyper focused on the title. For example, if you just want to call on business owners and CXO
Yeah.
level, you can get that specific using Sales Navigator, some of the advanced searches. And that's how you're going to reach out to your target, your niche in the marketplace.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the great thing about ICA Agency Alliance and Insurance Centers of America is our education department is here to help you niche down. So if you're like, okay, that sounds great, but where do I start? I'm going to go ahead and put a link below to our education team. We had Barb on here just a few weeks ago, and she was sharing some of the courses we have coming up. And you can have help through a instructor-led live course. So we're going to hold your hand throughout the entire process. We're not going to just educate you on what you need to know, but we're going to teach you how to get through the marketing and sales side of it as well. So you can see the link down below. Make sure to click on it today, guys. Knowledge is power, and we are here to empower you through teaching you all the tools and strategies and tips that you need in order to truly thrive in this new workplace. Rob,
Yep.
would you want to share a little bit more about niching or summarize anything?
I think the most amazing thing, especially Barb's team, here's what I love the most about the education department is they have advanced courses such as, for example, how to write a complex construction risk. I mean, that is huge. If you have that skill set under your belt, you are going to be so much more confident and you're going to be so much more successful because you're going to know how to write those types of complex risks. You're going to be able to target them on LinkedIn. You're going to be able to pinpoint and have that confidence that you can write those kinds of accounts. Therefore, they don't become intimidating anymore. You actually have taken control and you have the power. Knowledge is power, and it's also how you use that knowledge.
Yeah, I love that, Rob. I love that. And it made me think, how much money are people leaving on the table due to them being intimidated to learn new tasks and new skill sets, right?
That's
So
right.
we are here to build your confidence and to build your business. Thank you all for joining us today. Make sure to come back next week because next week we have a treat. We actually have a couple of our ISM members joining us, and these guys are amazing when it comes to building a commercial book of business. Mike and Marcy Valdez, they're going to be joining us. So make sure to mark your calendar for next Tuesday at 10 a.m. Mountain. And thank you again for joining us. Thank you, Rob. It's always a pleasure. You guys have an awesome day, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you. Awesome job, Violet.